Welcome back, Pirates, for another edition of Free Response Review. This topic was a particularly tricky one. We're going to take a look today at how to solve radical equations, which means you have a square root somewhere in the equation. Now, what made these a little bit extra tricky is that we had a quantity on the other side. So after we get the radical by itself, we need to undo a square root. Hopefully you remember the inverse of a square root is to square both sides. Now when we do that, safety first, we're going to put parentheses around the right-hand side, parentheses around the left. A square root square just cancels. That's why that's pretty helpful on the left. On the right, we have a quantity squared. So many of you might recall, what did I recommend? Rewrite it. I think it's helpful for you to write it twice. From there, you get to use your favorite four-letter F word. You guessed it, it's FOIL. Keep the 6x plus 31. That's going to equal x squared plus 8x plus 16. I'm pretty sure we're pretty good at foiling these days. Now I have a quadratic equation. So now I need to solve. In order to solve, we need to set it equal to 0. So we're going to move the terms that are not hanging out where they need to, the 6x and the 31. Again, if you don't feel so confident about add, subtract, multiplying, and dividing, your calculator does. So please don't be afraid to take out a calculator or use the app on your phone to even do basic subtraction. Okay, we get a negative 15. In the solving, you might want to complete the square. You might want to try quadratic formula. I would encourage you to try to factor. If you remember factoring, that's going to be the fastest way to get to these answers. Ask yourself, what adds to positive 2 and multiplies to negative 15? Looks like the winners are going to be a positive 5 and a negative 3. So those are my two factors, x plus 5, x minus 3. From here, we're going to use our zero product property. Maybe x plus 5 is my troublemaker, or maybe x minus 3 is my troublemaker. Hard to tell. And I get a negative 5, and I get a positive 3. Now, what a lot of you are not going to want to hear about radical equations, you must check your solutions. That's going to be the only way to make sure you don't have a number that does or does not work in the original. So take a minute. I promise it won't be too tricky. You're going to use your calculator and take this number here, plug it in for x all the way back in the original. So I have the square root of 6 times negative 5 plus 31. Now if I were to plug negative 5 in on the right, negative 5 plus 4 is negative 1. Let's see if that's what we get. We do not. So that means this is not a good solution. Okay, let's try the same thing for the 3. So now we're going to take the 3, plug it back into the original. I'm hoping to get 3 plus 4, which is 7. I do. Winner, winner. So this is my only good solution. Please be sure to show all your steps. You can get partial credit and check your answers.